Da, 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 da. Welcome back to Stream Catchers. It's your
Hey,
boy AB.
and in my book, experience outranks everything. I'm Jack. What's going on?
We forgot to do that on the last episode.
That's all right. Many
Oh,
episodes to come.
yes. Well, welcome back, folks, to Stream Catchers. We are on episode 7 of the Bad Batch. Things are heating up a bit. Jack, do you have any initial thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, this was a great episode. Probably my favorite episode since the first one. What about you?
I think I've said that the last 3 weeks, and I'm going to echo it again. This was my favorite one since the first
Yeah,
episode.
you're gonna echo it again.
Is there an echo in it?
Uh,
Is that, what?
yeah, I think it was a great episode. We've been, let's say it. Captain Rex is here. And I think that we've both been hoping for a Rex appearance since the first episode, right? I mean, it has to do with clones. It's a Star Wars show about clones. How could he not be here?
It's Rexcellent to have him. I'm Rexcited to see what more he does.
Jesus.
And it exceeded my expectations. It's just
Oh, get out of here. I'm doing this podcast solo. Get out.
got a lot of them. Just a really quick synopsis on the episode. We kick off in space like a traditional Star Wars property. I feel like it's not a Star Wars show or movie if it doesn't start directly in space.
Yeah.
They are performing a job for Sid. They're trying to steal a lizard from another group of bandits. I think we're stealing the lizard. They accomplish it. They fly back to the planet with Sid. They get their pay. In the same cantina, we see a cloaked figure that is not Mace Windu.
It's
Jack.
not Mace Windu. I was really hoping it would be Mace Windu.
It was Captain Rex, and he has been on the run and trying to do his thing to fight the Empire. And he learns that they still have their inhibitor chips inside them. And he says that's no good. So they plan to meet on another planet with some wrecked Jedi cruisers so that they can go into the medical bay to get them out. They get to the planet. They get to the medical bay. They're trying to pull the chip out of Wrecker because, as we know, he's had some issues over the last few episodes. Before they can pull it out, it activates and he goes full on Empire and trying to execute Order 66. They have to subdue him, stun him. They eventually get the chip out. The rest of the group gets their chips out. Rex goes on his merry way. And then we also get our first cliffhanger, which I was super excited because there were a group of, what are they called? The
Scrapper Guild.
Scrapper Guild sees Hunter as Rex takes off, and they alert the Empire, and we roll the credits. So
hopefully that is the tease that brings us back to Crosshair.
Yeah, and so when I had realized that we were going to have another episode with no Crosshair, I was like, all right, this is getting out of hand. This is anarchy. And then we get this last little moment, and so this is how they're going to bring the Empire back into the fold. We're going to see Crosshair, and I think this next episode, we are going to see an interaction of some kind, and maybe even a bit of a fight. So
I hope so. I hope that you're right.
Yeah. So I have quite a few notes. I think the first thing I noted is that they're starting to get frustrated with Sid. They're starting to learn what bounty hunting is like, and I'm not sure that they like it. I don't know if they like operating under the don't know, don't care about the bounty mentality. They've worked for the Republic. They're honest people. They want to know that what they're doing is going to be a benefit to the greater good. I agree. I think I'm definitely sensing that. And there was also the moment where she gives them their cut, and they're like, "Well, you said that it was 3 times what we've been getting," and she's like, "3 times for me, not for you guys." And Of course, she runs down like all the things that they have. Docking fees, and there's even like a treat that Wrecker and Omega, which is like kind of a funny moment.
Yeah,
they keep getting from a food stand outside. But yeah, they're starting to. So I don't know how much longer this little relationship is going to go on.
Yeah, and there was a short line about Sid talking about how they botched the mission with the droid head. So I guess they didn't get that information back to Sid. They instead just gave it to Trace and Rafa for the future rebellion.
Right. So we're definitely seeing some unrest grow there, and I don't know. That's something to keep watching. Maybe in the next few episodes, they cut ties and they go off and do their own thing.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, that'd be great for the show. I don't know how they'll survive without making money for, rations and fuel, but we'll see.
I could see them eventually meeting back up with Rex, and we'll get to that in a bit. But
Mhm.
um, Captain Rex in the cloak, Captain Rex, we talked about it. He's back. You owe me. We made a bet. You said it was going to be Mace Windu, so I will take a 6-pack of lime Perrier, please.
All right, yeah, it wasn't Mace Windu. Hopefully, keep the dream alive. He's still out there somewhere without a hand and without a lightsaber. But
While we're on the topic, this is very off topic of Bad Batch, but since we're on the topic of Mace Windu, I was thinking about that this
yeah,
morning. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't planned a Mace Windu spin-off movie or show focusing on a younger Mace Windu.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about. Have they said anything about Mace Windu's young life ever in the series, or even in Legacies? I don't, or even in Legends. I don't know if there's any
There's nothing.
Mace Windu backstory about his
No.
rise to Jedi Master.
But yeah, as I say, by the time we see him in Phantom Menace, he's basically second in command to Yoda.
Right,
So
right,
he's about as high as you can get. So
right.
I think that would be a great thing to explore, even if it isn't. I mean, I'd prefer it to be live action, but even if it is an animated thing, to see a younger.
If they did live action, would they ever get Sam Jackson back for Mace Windu? Do you
I
think?
don't think. I think you would do it the way you did Solo, and you'd have to pick a new guy. But you do have to do somebody that was way closer to Sam Jackson than the other guy was.
I guess yeah. If they're gonna do prequel stuff, he'd be younger, so they'd have to. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Sam Jackson's ever voiced Mace Windu in Clone Wars or anything. Yeah.
Nope. So I don't know. It was just a weird thought that I thought of after I was like, oh, that's right, that was supposed to be Mace Windu, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Well,
I mentioned the scrapper skill. I wrote down about that, but we really talked about that. One thing I will say that I liked, there's the part where they get on this planet with the Jedi cruisers, and they're sort of making their way to the cruiser, and they're walking on these fallen ones. It reminded me of a video game in a way, where they're
okay.
walking and then they see the steel beam. They've got to jump on it, walk on it, and then they've got to jump across a way. And there's like a vine they have to crawl across. It was very
Hmm.
reminiscent to me of a video game.
Yeah, that is interesting you say that. I just recently played through God of War, and that has some climbing mechanics to it. So that is what came to mind as soon as they were climbing around and messing around with that cable dangling across the pit of whatever goo was down there with the monster.
Yeah, and so of course they have to take a, I don't know what exactly it was, a cable or some sort
Yeah.
that they threw across so they could all get over, and everybody makes their way over, and then Wrecker's the last one, and it's kind of a comedic moment where he's like the big guy that doesn't want to, that's afraid of heights, and so he's trying to crawl his way across, and then of course the cable snaps and he falls down. He's got his foot wrapped on the cable. Another little detail that I really liked was he does make it across to the ledge, but it breaks. The rocks do beneath him. So as he falls, there are several other rocks falling, but they it's almost like real, just the way they did the animation, where the rocks are falling, and then a few more, and then a few more. And it felt like how it would actually be if you had
Hmm.
fallen off of a ledge, and rocks, instead of all of them falling all at once, it was just like a little bit. Some like
Yeah, I
residual
didn't pick
ones
up
that
on that
hung
detail.
on and fell off, and it's cool. It's a cool little detail for me.
Yeah. As for the monster, I just wrote Sarlacc question mark.
I know. Yeah, there wasn't much to say about the monster. It was
Yeah.
a cool Star Wars monster. It reminds me of I guess maybe the trash compactor monster from.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I feel like this episode, was such a biggie with Rex being in it that everything else had to be so minimized and so quick. They've only got 25 minutes to operate, so it's very, very in and out type of mission. Even the meat of the episode where Wrecker is activated and he turns evil Empire Order 66 Wrecker. That only spans like 3 or 4 minutes of the episode.
He does. And I think we knew it was coming. How do you feel about it happening when it did, rather than right before they pull it out, rather than it was a full episode dedicated to it?
Well, I mean, it makes sense the way that it happened because, Wrecker is, put yourself in Wrecker's shoes. He wants this inhibitor chip out because he knows that he has to, but it's also going against his gut instinct. Like he doesn't want to go into this machine. He doesn't want to have surgery. It's scary. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, so his gut telling him not to do that, may have clicked in his brain not to do it. And then his rational thought was, well, I don't even have to do this. They're all traitors. They're all, and so
Right.
I think that has something to do with when it triggered.
That was the triggering moment, right? Instead of him just hitting it over and over, there was an actual,
All that buildup of stress. Yeah.
yeah, finally set him off. And I put down he was pretty formidable.
He threw the Bad Batch around like rag dolls.
I mean, Wrecker has been, I think, probably my favorite character, I'd say, throughout
Hmm.
the show. And we always knew he was the muscle, he was the big guy. We always knew he was a formidable person. But for him to be able to take out the whole batch and Rex,
Hmm.
that was, and I don't know if that was just to showcase what he can actually do, or if a bit of that was him having no care at all because of the inhibitor chip, making him truly, I guess, remorseless versus maybe with his own thinking and his own left to his own devices, maybe he wouldn't be as formidable.
Yeah. Well, this episode builds the relationship between Wrecker and Omega a little bit more in the beginning when they go off and have that. I guess they called it Mantel mix, which just looked like caramel popcorn or whatever it was. And that's kind of their tradition. It's a little sacred, almost brother sister thing that they share.
Yeah.
And they show that early in the episode so that when they go, when you see Wrecker's lowest low of him being activated and hunting Omega, it's that much more dramatic because you don't want to see these characters in conflict. And then at the end of the episode when he does eventually get his chip out, and he was present in that moment. He has those memories. It's not like he was a robot or anything. He remembered hunting her and he had to apologize, and it was sad. It was a
Yeah.
little tearjerker moment.
Yeah, I think mentioned it before, but it adds a lot of heart to the show, and I do like
Mm-hmm.
the relationship between him and Omega, and for her to just be like, you know what, I get it, it wasn't you, and kind of just let it go was it's good for her. It shows some maturity on her being the youngest of the group and not taking it serious, and when it happened, Hunter tells Omega to get going, and then he sort of runs through everybody, and then she's the only one standing. She comes back, tries to stun him, and then he pursues her. And so there's like this whole thing where he's legit hunting her down, and got a
Yeah.
gun, and she's like, "Don't make me do this," and he snatches it from her, and you think he's about to do it, and you're like, "Oh wow!" Of course, Rex saves the day by stunning him, but yeah, it was a big part of the episode, probably the biggest part of it for me.
It kind of it clarifies something that we were talking about either last week or a couple of weeks ago, where if the Bad Batch was activated, what would happen? Would they want to hunt Omega because of Order 66? I think we talked about it being, are the inhibitor chips active, as in if there are new orders, they would get them,
Mm-hmm.
or are all of the orders already there? And we find out that Wrecker has the line, all clones in violation of Order 66 shall be terminated. And all of them are in violation of Order 66.
Right.
So that kind of clears that up,
Yeah.
including Omega, because she is a clone, I guess. So that counts
Exactly.
in his Order 66 activated mind.
And even if not, you would see her with that group, and you would expect that she would be some sort of an ally or assisting them in some way, right? So
Right.
even if you aren't technically a clone, if you're Jar Jar Binks, for example, you're with I don't know why he's the first guy that came to mind,
Yeah.
but you're in violation as well. So the chips are out now. They don't have chips.
Yes, and that's another thing that was cleared up. Removed. I know last week we talked about, are they removed,
Yes,
or are they edited or damaged or deactivated, or what? They are removed.
and I was gonna say I felt like I remember they definitely removed Rexes. So I wrote down too, I didn't realize Omega didn't have one. Is there any explanation for why she doesn't have one?
I don't think that they ever said whether she had one or not earlier in the series or anything. I don't. Yeah, that was new information to me too. I don't know.
I
I
wonder
hadn't
if
thought
that's
of that.
something to follow up with.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, or like why she, it's like, but again, it's not just us. There are people that think that she is force sensitive. So maybe they knew what they were doing, that maybe they didn't need
Yeah.
to put a chip in her, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that the Kaminoans' end goal with Omega will be revealed, and I think it has nothing to do with the soldier clones. I think it's going to be a whole different plot line.
I agree. She, I don't want to say she took a back seat of this episode, but she wasn't as prominently featured as she has been. She did
Well,
have,
when you reintroduce Rex, all the characters are going to take more of a backseat.
sure. Well, for me, it felt like he was definitely a big part of the episode, but it was definitely a big wrecker episode too, I felt.
Hmm.
And so, she definitely played her part and had that big moment where he was chasing her. Um, but it was kind of refreshing to not have her be the sole savior of the day, and that
Hmm.
it was a team effort. Rex had to help a lot too. I like that they took time to focus on Wrecker, and I really hope that they can do that with Tech or Echo moving forward too.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a good change of pace. I didn't notice it until you pointed it out, but yeah, they definitely they were able to um, feature Omega without her being the central main character that everything in the mission is about.
Exactly. So yeah, it was refreshing for me.
Hmm.
Uh, I also had that Rex tries to recruit Hunter and the group to join him. He's got
Naturally.
a crew of himself somewhere, and I think we can assume Rafa and Trace that we met last week, that they're in that group. Um,
Maybe Saw Gerrera, maybe his group.
Perhaps that. I know that when we get to Rebels, Rex is with another clone or two. I can't remember who they are, but I would wonder if maybe they're in the group as well. And then
Okay.
I wonder if we will see Ahsoka.
Do we know what happened with Commander Cody's storyline?
We might, but I don't remember it.
I don't remember where he left off. That's worth a Google.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know. And again, I should have did a brush up too, because when Rex comes back in Rebels, he's older and he's with a couple
Right.
of other guys. So, but at that point too, he wasn't with Ahsoka. It was they had their moment where they saw each other, and it was like, oh my god, I haven't seen you forever. So I
Yeah.
don't know if we had talked about it last week. If and when Rex pops up, would it be with Ahsoka? I didn't really think so, but it wasn't. So I don't know if we will or not see her.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect Trace and Rafa to be allied with Rex though. I think that's a I mean it makes sense that they would, but I
Right.
figured that Ahsoka would be their clear link and she's not been featured yet.
Yeah. Right. But
Or even named. I don't even think she's been name dropped.
I thought that no, there was a mention of someone else, but not Ahsoka. It does make sense because when we left off of Clone Wars, we do see Ahsoka and Rex take off together, and it was very briefly shown, but Rex was in the same ship that he was in with Clone Wars as well, that he
Okay.
escaped on. So even though that she wasn't with him, you could at least speculate that they are still connected, and that is how Rex got into contact with Rafa and Trace.
Yeah. Oh, good eye. I didn't realize that was the same ship.
Yeah. I They also mentioned, they didn't mention him by name, but they mentioned the Padawan that got away, Caleb Doom.
So we talked about how, after watching the first episode, we were pretty excited for an appearance by Kanan in Bad Batch, and we thought, later, a few episodes later, maybe not. They haven't discussed it. Why would they bring him up again for no reason?
Right,
I'm getting a little more hopeful about a Kanan appearance again.
right. And especially in terms of how they reconnect with him, because they don't exactly know where he went or how he got off. And
Hmm.
obviously Rex didn't know anything about it. So is it going to be one of those things where maybe he reaches out to Rex, or Ahsoka of some, if he does pop up, I will be really curious to see how there is that reconnection, because I mean, imagine not, it's not like they have what we have, Facebook and all that. It's like you can just add them on Facebook. And
Right. Yeah.
a long time. It's only on the people you might know.
The Empire database.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how he pops back up if he does.
Well, I definitely think that if Rex and Ahsoka are still in communication, then Rex ought to tell Ahsoka that Caleb is out there, because she would want to know, as a former Jedi, she would want to know all of the survivors of Order 66, or the Purge.
Good call. And I'm trying to remember if, when she pops up in Rebels, if there was a connection with her and Kanan. I don't remember.
Ooh, if there is, I don't want to know about it. I usually don't care about spoilers for that show, but that seems like a pretty good one.
Okay. I mean, they definitely interact. I don't think that's a spoiler, but
I am definitely going to get back to Rebels. I need to finish that show. I will probably just start it over, but I'll start it off stronger. I'll watch, I'll binge it. I'll watch like the first 10 episodes in a night, and then hopefully 10 episodes the next night, and I'll really get into it next time I do.
Sure. I'm pretty sure the seasons are 12 or 15, maybe a bit more.
It's a very easy to watch show. I mean, it is really good. I just didn't have the time for it back then.
Yeah, I think when you get through it, you'll probably appreciate some of the stuff you're seeing in this too a little bit more. I mean, maybe not, I don't know. If we see Kanan again, maybe. But I think that's all I really had. Did you have any other?
The only other note that I had was about Camino. It gets mentioned when Tech is talking about how the Jedi cruiser is no longer a sterile environment for a surgery, and then I can't remember if it was either Rex or Hunter said something along the lines of, well, would you prefer we go to Camino and do the surgery? It said, nope, this will do just fine. It made me think, how cool would a Sid bounty be if they had to go to Camino to retrieve something, go back to Camino? That'd be pretty spicy, right?
That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's a good catch. I didn't think about that. I think at some point they're going to have to go back for something.
I hope so. Camino is a really exciting place, especially for this series.
Yeah, I agree, and it sort of feels like there's going to have to be some reason why they have to go back to Camino, whether it is to connect with the Kaminoans or to get something that maybe they left behind. I don't know what it is or why they would need to go back, but I think that it would be really fun if they had to go back for some reason. And the Sid, that's a good reason to go back.
Now that they know how to take out the inhibitor chips, maybe they should go back and kidnap Crosshair and bring him back to this planet and try to remove his chip.
And I always assumed that was going to be a bit of a plot device. At some point, they were going to try to save Crosshair. It's one of their own, right?
But the Empire's doing experiments on them, so his brain might be,
too far gone.
Yeah, he might be too far gone. Is what I'm trying to say. Maybe his brain is more than just a chip now. Maybe he's got more machine than man
say that,
upstairs.
I was waiting for oh man, yeah, more machine than man now.
Yeah, that covers my notes. That's all I've got, other than Mace Windu in big letters at the bottom. I really hope he's not coming back. I know.
I wish he would. He's one of my favorite characters. Maybe Disney, if you're watching, I don't know why, but if you are.
Honestly, the reason that I want it so bad is because I feel like we don't know enough about Mace Windu, and I feel like it's an untapped potential.
It is, and Disney is really big on diversity and having white guys to be the central part. So to have a strong black lead that you already have, that we don't know enough about, it just kind of makes sense to want to explore that more.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's like, that's kind of, Hollywood's really big on diversity now and having, strong black leads or strong female leads or strong whatever leads, LGBT and all that. You have a guy that is pre-existing that we that already has a fan base. People already love Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Give us a movie, give us a show, give us a limited series, give us something.
And we could get a little more insight into his one of a kind purple lightsaber. We don't know anything about why as far as canon goes, I don't know if we know anything about why lightsabers are the color that they are outside of maybe novels. I don't think they've ever really gone into that in any show or movie.
Not in the show or movie. There definitely are explanations online. I
Yeah.
know that when they were doing Phantom Menace, Sam Jackson was literally like, "Can I just get a purple lightsaber?" And George Lucas was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Okay, and I think that that's cool and everything, and I like that, but why not make some canonized reason, why it would be the way that it is?
There is. I'm gonna give it a Goog real quick, actually, because I know that like blue is supposed to be you're a good swordsman. Red is obviously Sith. Green is like you're good with you're more attuned with the Force than you are with combat.
Okay.
I've got it here actually. Is it okay? I lost it. Okay, so green, peace through Force. Use it when necessary. Jedi consulars who prefer negotiation and meditation to combat.
Okay.
And then red's obviously the Sith.
Yeah.
This looks like blue. Jedi Guardians who fight for the light side and they're skilled lightsaber warriors. Purple. Jedi who use both light and dark side techniques with an aggressive style.
Come on.
The purple color may be interpreted as a mixture of blue good and red evil.
Who wouldn't want to see that? Who wouldn't want
Right?
to see? I mean, I just feel like Star Wars is so big on it's out of canon. Not canon. Canon is not the right word, because what you're saying is probably canon in
It
a
is.
novel or a comic book. I just don't know it.
It is.
Why not bring that into a show or a movie or something?
I
I
agree.
just think there's a lot of untapped potential with that.
I agree. I agree. And there's yellow, there's orange, there's like a different shade of yellow, there's
And we
white.
know, yeah, we know that at the end of the Skywalker saga, that Rey ends up with a yellow lightsaber, and we don't know anything. To the average fan, we don't know what a
Right.
yellow lightsaber means, and that would be interesting to know.
And I've got it right here. Jedi Sentinels who seek and destroy the dark side. Their activities are closer to espionage. So, and that makes
Ooh,
sense because her whole
spicy.
thing was I'm all the Jedi, and she wanted to
Yeah,
aim for the First Order. So, yeah, I think, and yeah, that was one of those things where it's like if you knew the significance of yellow, that would have been such a bigger deal at the end of Rise of
yeah,
Skywalker.
yep,
And I know that like the Sentinels are like, yeah, they're supposed to be the protectors of the Jedi Temple, so only they have yellow lightsabers. But I agree, like there should be movie or show explanations for all of this. Because
yeah.
you'll see in Rebels when Ahsoka pops up, her lightsabers are white. We saw it in Mandalorian,
That's right.
lightsabers. So I give us more, Disney God.
I want it more, and I want faster.
Well,
Yeah.
we,
That was a
we
good derailment. I know we are totally off the episode, but yeah, I mean that's the kind of stuff that these kind of questions, these kind of outlier conversations crop up just because of how good the stuff is.
yeah,
What we do get is great, and we just want more, and we want all of it.
exactly. Well, hopefully someday we get all that. And next week, I am very much looking forward to a hopeful encounter with Crosshair and to see
Yeah,
maybe we'll get him, and maybe he'll have gone much farther into the depths of the evil side of him than when we left him off. So maybe there's some more.
yeah. And we've still got a lot of episodes left. Maybe it's time for a solo Crosshair episode, or maybe one more Sid mission and a Crosshair cliffhanger. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that they can do still. The season is still young. Got, I think, 9 more episodes.
Yeah, we are just under halfway through, so there's
Yeah.
a lot to bite onto on this. So, and they're finally getting to a point where I'm into most of the characters. We have it's seemingly a thing to do. There's stuff to look forward to. Rex is now in the mix, kind of.
Hmm.
It seems like it was slow going for episodes 2 through I think 4, but by now I think we're really off and running. And we also haven't seen Fennec Shand in a while either. So
It's true.
we'll see what happens with
It's
that.
true.
So that's all I've got.
Yeah. And we still don't know who hired her, right?
I thought it was the Empire.
Was it the Empire? Or I think that
I don't exactly.
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't think so. I think that they just found out that they didn't know. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember where we left that plot thread. I have to listen back to the podcast.
Probably, yeah, probably. All right. Well, I think that's where we're gonna call it there. So
yeah. It's been a blast, and until next week.
Yeah.
We'll catch you later.
Follow us on all the platforms, links in the show notes. Give us some love on YouTube if you can. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys next week. Keep on keeping on.